I was thinking all day, how do I sort of start this talk? What do I actually talk about? What would be interesting to all of you? And then I went up this morning, I think it was like 8 a.m. and got absolutely overwhelmed at the exhibit hall. And so I kept trying to go and write something and just absolutely couldn't. So I'm going to sort of freeform this today. I'm going to share a little bit more about myself, my co-founder who's recording me right there. Hope I'm looking pretty good. Yeah? Awesome. Lighting's pretty good. And then I'll go into sort of, what I'm not going to sell you today. Like, I'm going to explain sort of, how we got to be where we are today. And I'll be honest with you, we're like two young kids. I'm 21, Tico's 20, so just starting out in the space, but making a lot of impact. And I appreciate that. Love it. You give me all the confidence in the world here. And then I'll go into sort of, sort of appreciation for everyone we've met along the way. So I'll share a few stories. So I'm Vrishank. I'm the co-founder and CEO here at SimCare. At a super high level, we create these like crazy-looking AI clients. They're usually not just pixelated. I promise it's a monitor. But yeah, you can have couples. You can have groups, you can have individual cases, and conduct full counseling sessions and get feedback right after. And to Eric's point, you can mess up 1,000 times and have one of these clients cuss out at you, but guess what, you can do it again and again and again and iterate on the feedback you get. We also do some other neat stuff in terms of like field experience, which I'll get into at some point later when we're wrapping up here. Yeah, that's what SimCare is, so hopefully we get to like supplement role plays. We're in over 50 KCREP accredited programs, which is really awesome. We're in about 20 social work programs, quite a few MFT programs too. So we recently launched these like couples that sort of fight with each other and interact with each other. So I wish I could do a demo. They were quoting me at $4,000 to get the sound working here, so I'm just not going to do that. Hopefully we can give you a discount from what we don't spend here. But yeah, awesome. So I was a student at the University of Chicago with Tico here, and I was preparing for something called the Casper test. It's a situational judgment test you take when you're applying to go into healthcare, and they'll ask you questions like, you're in med school, you see someone stealing medical supplies, what do you do? And I failed the test. Maybe I'm not that ethical, I don't know, but my communication was not great. And so I went online, and it was $10,000 almost to prep for the test. And I was wondering why that was. It's because you needed an actor to sort of role play with you. You needed a physician to oversee that. You needed a coach to give you feedback. And so certainly a valuable system, but nowhere near like the term accessible or affordable or any of that. It's not really sucked. And so I got together with Tico at U Chicago, and we started to play with these avatars that I could chat with. They definitely weren't as good as this, and there's a few customers in here who did like our V1 pilot testing who could definitely speak to that. Yeah, I ended up doing really good on the test right after. So no need for actors. Yes, I certainly had a tutor in the loop who helped me out, and that's very much necessary. I was able to mess up as many times as I really wanted with one of these clients. And so we went to the University of Chicago. They were pretty excited about what we were working on. We looked at their medical school, and the first thing they tell us is, hey, we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars each year on standardized patients. An amazing system, by the way, but again, incredibly expensive. So we built this out, and we built it out again. And then one day, I cold emailed Mark, who's standing right there. He'll be giving a talk. Hey, Mark. And I was like, hey, tell me more about the counseling space. It seems like his actors and med schools and nursing. And he goes on to tell me a bit more about sort of, the role play structure, some events that happened during his time teaching where, there were safety concerns with role plays. You and I are role playing here today. That could turn into like a crisis intervention pretty quick. I promise you I'm not a counselor. So I would not be able to handle anything around that. And that goes for really any role play. And so sort of start to build this out and realize there's a ton of value to provide in counseling. And so that's sort of where we sort of left off from there and built out for you guys. I guess like some things I learned along the way. I want to like start off by saying, I can point to almost everyone in the room here today, and honestly, almost everyone here at this conference today, and map it to where they contributed to SimCare. like this is honestly a canvas, and we've been able to just work with every single person here, and they've contributed things like, I remember when I met with Mark, he was like, hey, this button isn't dark enough, and that's not intuitive. And I was like, all right, interesting. And so we made the button darker, and that was super helpful. Every AI client here was built by one of you, or some educator here in this building, and that's been incredible. And you know, that's really not how it works in other fields. When you run a demo, and a lot of you have been through demos with me, or I'm going to bug you via email right after about that. But when we run through a demo, it's not just, hey, you know, here's what SimCare does. Do you want to adopt this? Instead, the conversations turn into sometimes these like hour-long things where, you know, I get 1,000 questions, but 1,000 ideas from everyone too about what they want to see different, what they want to see in the technology, what could be helpful. And so, like when I was talking to Eric, he went and I showed him one of the clients. He was like, you know, these clients are great. Can we make them less predictable? I was like, okay, interesting. Let's do that. And I iterated on that. I showed it to his faculty. They had a bunch of ideas, and we iterated and iterated and iterated. And so everything you see in SimCare today just cannot have been done without every single one of you here. I mean it, like every single person here. This has sort of been like just an incredible community in which we can build. And so everyone comes to us and says, hey, you know, we're super young, and yeah, we are. But, you know, this is sort of the creation of every single counselor educator. And so I really want to just say, you know, we really appreciate you letting us be in your world. And we appreciate, you know, you guys contributing to this canvas. Just a round of applause for everyone here. Yeah. Awesome. Just a few more quick stories, like Dr. Chowdhury, see there. I remember I emailed you, and I was like, hey, you know, we need specific AI clients. And you know, within hours, got a response, hopped on a call later that week, hopped on a call again, I think again, and we're going to hop on another one this week. So really, like, no ask, just saying, hey, how can I help? Where can I help? And how do we get started? So that's amazing. So awesome. I guess some other quick things. I'd love to go over our roadmap later today. So I'll be coming back on. So I know a lot of you are curious about that. But I'm going to switch it over to Mark right now, who's been an incredible advisor for us. Was the first counselor educator I've ever spoken in my life. And so we'll have a lot of things to say about how I've maybe, hopefully, matured and grown a little bit.
You've done a really good job. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm not